this big. Then he said, "Could you send me $60? That's my boy."
An all-star rock and roll jam with Bo Diddley, Saturday night at 10.
Good evening, everybody. Could be a real barn burner for the Democrats down in Atlanta, Georgia next week. Mike Dukakis, in effect, sent a message to Jesse Jackson, and the message is, look, pal, I won and you didn't, like it or not. That seems to be what's going on in the Democratic Party politics as of tonight, and Jesse is not the type of guy to just sit, smile, then fade into the background. So Jesse is threatening to stir up some trouble, perhaps. Members of the Congressional Black Caucus are warning there will be long and loud protest at next week's convention in Atlanta. Jesse Jackson leaving open the possibility that he'll fight to get his ideas and his plans into the party platform, and very possibly to try to show his strength by attempting to take the vice presidential spot away from Texas Senator Lloyd Bentsen. That despite an apology today from Dukakis' campaign manager, who said a series of mistakes prevented Jesse Jackson from learning in advance that he wasn't going to be on the ticket. Jackson accepted that apology, but he made it clear that he wants something much more from the Dukakis camp.
The real issue for us is not requiring an apology. The issue for us is not what time the call came, not really who's on the ticket, but our relationship to the team. At this point, we're disconnected from the process.
After talking to reporters, Jesse Jackson boarded a bus that will carry him in a caravan to the convention in Atlanta. He also asked for help from former President Jimmy Carter. Jesse Jackson wants Carter to mediate the bitter dispute between himself and Dukakis. So far, there has been no comment from Jimmy Carter. Jesse Jackson has a lot of supporters in this Detroit metropolitan area, and of course, he won the Michigan caucuses. So where do local Democrats stand on this bitter party split? Channel 7's Dave Gilbert pursued that part of the story tonight.
The way Jesse Jackson was dealt with by Michael Dukakis will trigger boisterous protest at next week's convention. That's what many black leaders in Washington are saying tonight. They're upset over Jackson getting snubbed and expect a lot of floor fights. But some Jackson delegates in Detroit say that's an exaggeration.
We are going to be disciplined, directed, and focused. And we're going to go down there, and I don't think you're going to, you know, there might be some dissension, but I think it'll be organized, and we're not going to go down there looking to tear up any convention. And I think that's what a lot of people are expecting.
It doesn't have to turn into a fight, and I don't think that the Democrats would be stupid enough to do that.
Some black community and business leaders here at a Detroit awards banquet tonight believe there will definitely be hassling in Atlanta.
I think absolutely we're going to see some fighting. I think that is clearly a case where you've got a man, Jesse Jackson, whose feelings were badly hurt.
Highland Park Mayor Martha Scott says she backs Dukakis, but like others, wanted Jackson in the #2 spot.
I'm really a Dukakis person, but I certainly believe in Jesse Jackson. Was very hopeful that he was going to be vice president.
Many here believe the bottom line is even if there are fireworks in Atlanta, once the smoke clears, Jackson supporters will stay true to the party and rally around the Democratic ticket. In Detroit, I'm Dave Gilbert, Channel 7 Action News reporting.
Well, we're going to be in Atlanta next week. Channel 7's live coverage on the convention begins tomorrow night from Atlanta. Jim Harrington will be there with reports via the New Star 7 satellite. Diana?
Bill, 4 innocent people are dead tonight after getting caught in the middle of a vicious war between suspected crack cocaine dealers in Detroit. 6 other people are injured and several are homeless after someone hurled a firebomb into the duplex on Detroit's east side. The bomb exploded just before 3 o'clock this morning, and flames quickly spread to the house next door. Neighbors say suspected crack dealers in the duplex argued over money the day before and threatened to settle the dispute later. Early this morning, people living there heard an explosion and then watched everything they owned go up in flames.
My clothing, shoes, personal items, my little girl's clothes, everything, you know, is gone. Everything is gone. Now we have to look for a place to stay, you know. But I'm just happy that we're all alive.
Detroit police have no suspects in the firebombing attack. 5 of the injured have been treated and released. 1 woman remains hospitalized tonight in stable condition. More stories making news around the Detroit area tonight. Detroit's arson squad is investigating a suspicious fire that swept through 2 houses on the city's east side tonight. The fire apparently started in a garage just after 7 o'clock. One of the homes destroyed was abandoned. No injuries have been reported. A farmer's worst fears during this drought have come true tonight after fire swept across dozens of acres of farmland in northern Oakland County. Firefighters from 4 communities fought the blaze, which destroyed 34 acres of wheat and hay. The loss is expected to hit $3,500. Congress has overwhelmingly passed a bill banning joint use of Selfridge Air National Guard Base in Harrison Township. The bill passed as part of a border defense bill. Several Macomb County officials want to open the base to commercial airlines. The bill now goes to President Reagan for his signature. Bill?
Well, when you sit down and you talk to Lee Iacocca, as I had the opportunity to do recently, you can get so caught up in his ideas regarding the world economy, American politics, the American economic system, the political system, that you forget that really, first and foremost, Lee Iacocca is a car guy. In our exclusive interview tonight, Lee Iacocca talks about American automobiles, Japanese car companies, and the young generation of American car buyers that we lost to the foreigners, the Japanese.
It's been said that during the fat years, the American car companies, along with the unions, was union and management, kind of ignored that generation, which is now 30. And that generation doesn't have the loyalty for American cars that your generation, my generation does. Yeah. Did you lose them? Are they gone? They're buying Toyotas, they're buying Nissans.
No question about it.
How are you going to get them back?
We definitely lost them because they get a bigger proportion of young people than we do. We get their mothers and fathers. We didn't get the offspring. And, you know, the old story, but there was truth to it. You were born in a General Motors family and you had a Chevrolet, and if you got well, you get to Buick. If the kid got to be a doctor, he always had a Buick. And if you died, you got buried in a Cadillac limousine. There was a lot of truth to that. Those bets are all off. You've got to get to them with value. I don't think the whole world is one mass of yuppies that they all got to have the same car and it's got to look like a Porsche. I don't believe that. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of honest, hard-working people out there that want transportation, and we got to give them great quality. They're very discerning. It's a product. It's a product at a good price, and then they'll come back.
And then service the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, our whole theme around here is quality is important, but it's total customer satisfaction you got to look at, including the dealer experience. That's why the training has to go, and just the women. Women are treated in some of our dealerships like they're not breadwinners. I mean, they run the family. In the old days, they used to come in with a husband. They used to say, the women pick the color. I mean, today, a woman coming in as head of a family or a career girl, and she's making $100,000 a year, and she wants to spend $20,000 for a car, we've got to make sure our people treat them for what they are. Good customers. It's not that they're against women. It's they think that they don't want to get involved in what kind of car they're buying. I know what women want. They want reliable cars. They want to start in the morning, every morning, more than men. They want safe cars, if you had to put 2 things. So you get a package for those young women who want that. We have a women's committee here. We've had one for about a decade. And you try to program a lot of cars right against those needs. That's customer satisfaction,
Of course,
right?
the Japanese know this, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe they've been doing better than we have. Yeah.
Have we caught up yet?
Yeah, I think on technology, you know, we've caught up. They say, why don't they have 10 Japanese manufacturers, only 3 here now that we bought AMC. So it's a 10-3 ball game, and you'll see one guy come out with 4-wheel drive before we do on certain cars, and another guy come out with 4-wheel steering, which at the moment is, I think, a gimmick, but it'll come one day. And you say, why are the Japanese always doing that? Most of the inventions that give birth to those were invented here. Here again, there's a theory of mine, it bothers me more than anything else in the world. You go to Japan and you'll find, let's take a nice round number, 25,000 scientists and engineers working on what? Graphite golf clubs, clear pictures on their VCRs, great instrument panels. You say, you guys aren't quite as fast as they are. Well, first of all, there's 10 of them and 3 of us, but that's not the problem. Our guys are all, and I have a company like that, they're all working on black boxes. They're all working on the missiles and the silos. We don't even allow them to do that. We made sure Japan couldn't do that. So our 25,000 brains are over here. I said, that's the worst brain drain of all. We're all working on, not stuff that makes life better, but on the defensive side of the world, our guys. Yeah, and their smart guys are working on good products for you and me to enjoy life.
So we're spending billions and all of our brains, or a lot of our brains, on weapons, while the Japanese are spending billions inventing things that people can use every day. Tomorrow night, our exclusive interview with the Chrysler chairman ends as Lee Iacocca looks back to his firing by Henry Ford II from the Ford Motor Company, his thoughts about the deuce, and he looks ahead to the future of this country, even talks about his daughters, and they're participating in the election. That's tomorrow night at 11, right here on 7. Diana?
Still ahead tonight on The Update, George Bush tries to score some political points while defending United States action in the Persian Gulf. President Reagan gets a first-hand look at drought damage in the Midwest, plus the story of an old fiddler trying to sell a stringed instrument the hard way. When 7's Action News Update continues.
They came to your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer with strict orders. Mark down every car in stock during our spectacular blue and white tag days. They tagged every luxurious Chrysler, every fun-to-drive Plymouth with special blue and white deals. They came, they saw, and they tagged. So for your great blue and white deal, hurry in before it's gone.
See Livonia Chrysler Plymouth, Schumann Chrysler Plymouth, or Jim Reel's Roseville Chrysler Plymouth.
It's the biggest, it's the best. It's the Art Van once-a-year tent sale. A sale so spectacular, we had to set up tents in all Art Van parking lots just to handle the overflow. Save up to 64% on floor samples, one-of-a-kind and new merchandise still in factory cartons. But the savings don't stop there. Come inside the store and discover more savings of 15 to 64% in every department. But hurry to the Art Van once-a-year tent sale for a limited time only.
Many of the rich do not like having their lives or finances made public. Take Aristotle Koulos, shipping magnate. Income $5,000 per day. Then there's Virgil Boggs. Virgil also made $5,000 in one day, but by playing the daily 4 lottery game. Unlike Aristotle, Virgil doesn't hide his newfound wealth. He wants everyone to know he won $5,000 in one day.
I won!
Wouldn't you?
Mary, baby!
Let Farmer Jack take you and your family on a trip, a free trip to California, Hawaii, Disney World, New York, Washington, D.C., Mackinac Island. It's Farmer Jack's Travel America Sweepstakes. 12 lucky winners will be taking off free to one of 6 great American vacation spots. No purchase necessary. Just pick up an entry blank at Farmer Jack, fill it out, and you could be taking off.
A dramatic high-profile appearance for the Vice President of the United States today. The U.S. and Iran are at a standoff tonight after a diplomatic showdown at the United Nations in New York. Vice President Bush and the Iranian Foreign Minister, Ali Akbar Velayati, squaring off at a meeting of the UN Security Council in the Big Apple. Velayati called the destruction of that Iranian Air Flight 655, which killed 290 civilians, a barbaric massacre, and accused the U.S. of attacking the plane deliberately. That remark brought a sharp, strong response from George Bush.
The wild allegations by the Iran side that the attack on this airliner was premeditated is offensive and it is absurd.
The Vice President then urged Iran to end its 8-year-long war with Iraq by accepting a ceasefire resolution. But Iran wants the U.S. to get out of the Persian Gulf, and both sides so far have not blinked, have not given in. Diana?
Bill, while the Vice President was battling with the Iranians, President Reagan was with Midwestern farmers who are battling the drought. Mr. Reagan toured more than 2,800 acres of farmland in southern Illinois, looking over corn and soybean crops that had shriveled under a scorching sun. Up to 4 inches of rain did fall in the area, but experts argue it won't do much to help crops that are already dried out. Speaking to about 200 farmers, the president vowed he would do all he could to protect them from heavy losses. But he will not approve drought relief measures that he claims will overburden the federal budget. Bill?
Corn in that part of the country is usually about 10 feet high, Diana. Now it's about 3 feet high, about a third of its height. Yeah, really incredible. Not much rain in this Detroit metropolitan area tonight, and not much in sight. Right now, the month of July is shaping up in Michigan history as the driest ever. Jerry with the forecast when the update continues.
There's no sweeter treat in America than 2 Baskin-Robbins free-pack quarts. Just $5.
Oh, Baskin-Robbins, you're America's ice cream treat.
Remember your first night away from home? Your first job?
$187?
Your first date?
Have a really big gob of mustard right there.
Your first apartment?
You live here? Yeah.
It's nice, isn't it?
Remember the day you finally discovered what it was like to be big?
What were you like when you were younger?
Tom Hanks
Oh, well, I wasn't much different.
is big. Rated PG. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
It has a new, elegantly crafted back end and a new sculptured hood. And under it, you'll find a new, powerful 4.5-liter V8, making it accelerate faster, yes, faster, than comparably priced BMWs, Volvos, and Mercedes. It's the 1988 Cadillac Eldorado, and it's why car enthusiasts everywhere are saying, the Eldorado's back.
See your Metro Detroit Cadillac dealers now.
In the world of checking accounts, we were surrounded by multitudes of charges and service fees. But one stands out in the crowd. Standard Federal's checking. With a low minimum balance and no per-check charges, we make it easy to get free checking. It just shows what we'll do to keep you satisfied. Besides, we know the money you usually spend on your checking account could be put to far better use. Standard Federal Bank. We focus on performance.
When your garbage disposer suffers from overeating, feed it new Disposer Care. It cleans grease and removes odors, leaving your disposer relieved. Ah, new Disposer Care from Ajax.
Yeah, maybe it's because we're getting acclimated to it. 98 didn't feel all that hot to me today. I felt like it was kind of a cool breeze out there.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity. Or it's the, this time around, we don't even care about humidity. It's just hot. This is what it's like down in Phoenix. I suppose brown and hot every day with low humidities. Today wasn't all that bad if you were in the shade, I suppose. And we had a bit of a breeze, too, which helped out. High in Detroit today got up to 99, 76 degrees the high, no rain, of course. At this hour, the temperature's still comfortable, 78 degrees, but our winds have shifted direction. They're now out of the northeast and light at 8 miles an hour. Barometer going up, and the humidity now is at 48%. At this hour around the state, temperatures have really cooled down. In the UP, they're in the 50s. Here in the southern part of the state, we're falling through the 60s and the 70s, 73 now at Flint, 75 at Lansing, 78 at Detroit City Airport. Earlier today, Flint had a record high, 98 degrees. Toledo had 99, equaling our 99-degree reading here in Detroit. Chicago had a record 100 degrees this afternoon, and St. Louis had 102. Allergies may have been agitated a little bit today by mold spores. They were running moderate to high here in the Detroit area, but no particular problem with weed or grass pollen at all. We keep our eye out for any chance of rain coming up over the next couple of days. Our chances increase a little bit tomorrow afternoon. When I say a little bit, I mean that literally. But tomorrow night now, chances jump to 15%. And then on Saturday morning, particularly, our best chance of rain is still running only about 25%. We may see a scattered shower move through here or a thunder shower. They were developing along this weak system here that you see off to the north and west over the Dakotas today. Although late this afternoon, as humidity and heat built up, these thunderstorms produced some rather heavy rainfalls, up to a half an inch or so. Down to the south, South Bend, Indiana had a half an inch of rainfall today. These thunderstorms moved through Michigan last night, just skipped all around Detroit. They dropped heavy rain up around the Traverse City area, though, some places getting as much as an inch of rain earlier this morning. This heat and humidity is building up once again. It'll be moving back in here for the weekend, but will also draw in these thunderstorms late in the day tomorrow. We expect to see them, if they occur at all, late tomorrow night or early Saturday morning. But nonetheless, once the system moves on through, we expect our winds to shift, bringing in southwesterly winds and more heat and humidity for the weekend. Temperatures jumping back into the 90s tomorrow, although heating up even more on Saturday. We'll be in the low 90s tomorrow. It's going to cool down a bit as we get northeasterly winds. Across the UP, we'll get some thunderstorms and some clouds. That'll keep temperatures in the 70s. Early Saturday morning, maybe a scattered shower. Then we go back into the dry stuff with mid-90-degree temperatures right in through the start of next week. Overall, what this means is it's going to stay hot and dry. Here's our forecast now for Metro Detroit. For the rest of tonight, skies will be mostly clear and temperatures will be on the mild side with a low of 70 degrees. And then for tomorrow, lots of sunshine, clouds during the afternoon, maybe, just maybe, as I said, 5 to 15% chance of a thunderstorm developing later in the day tomorrow. 92 degrees the high for Friday with a southeast wind at 5 to 10 miles an hour. We talked about the grass being so brown, but The word evergreen is becoming a misnomer, too.
It is. 90 degrees tomorrow, time out to get out the long johns. Thank you, Jerry.
Tigers back in action tonight on the West Coast, and the Lions have signed, sealed, and delivered their #1 draft pick, Benny Blades. Steve with all the sports when we come back.
Price meltdown. That's what your Metro GMC truck dealers call a closeout sale this hot, with big closeout discounts on every new 88 GMC, including S15, with cash back up to $750, with factory savings that can total up to $2,400, even before you get your dealer's best closeout price. Price meltdown. Now at Jim Causley, Mount Clemens, Rev Holman, Westland, Art Moran, Southfield, and Bob Janot, GMC Truck, Plymouth.
If finding a parking space this Friday and Saturday is incredibly easy, and getting good seats at the ballpark is a breeze, it could be you're the only ones who aren't at Highland Superstore's 2-day sale, and you'll be missing fantastic savings on many items, like this Sharp VHS video recorder with wireless remote, just $216. So if there's lots of elbow room at the movies this Friday and Saturday, it's because everyone's saving at Highland's 2-day sale, and you're not.
Take me out to the Kroger. Take me out to the store. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. Kroger prices will save you big cash.
Eagle brand thin potato chips, just $1.89 for the 16-ounce bag. The 18-ounce box of Wheaties or 15-ounce Cheerios, $1.98 each. And Nestea 100% instant tea, only $2.77 for the 3-ounce jar.
For it's 1, 2, 3 ways to save at your Kroger store.
The red tags let you know red-hot selling days are here.
Red Tag sale days are going on now at your Tri-County Pontiac dealers. Sticker prices have been even on Pontiac Grand Am. Now you can buy Grand Am with air and stereo for only about $184 a month. Yes, $184 a month.
You may never see sticker prices this low again.
At Barnett's, Dearborn, Bob Janot, Plymouth, Quality, Pontiac, or Rinky Pontiac, Warren.
Well, Sparky gave Jack the Ripper 10 days off, and the hope was he'd come back with some heat tonight. Is he?
Well, it's not bad. It's not bad, but then it could get worse. Jack Morris is on the mound for the Tigers. They start the second half tonight. So far, not too bad. Third inning. It is now California 1, the Tigers nothing, but it is still very early in the game. The Yankees and Chicago White Sox playing in New York tonight. The Yankees win 7-5, so the Tigers must win to maintain their 3-game lead in the East. The Yankees got 2 runs on a cheapie. Jack Clark hits it way, way up there. Now, don't let it drop. Don't let it drop. I just said don't let it drop. 2-run score on that play. The Yankees go in front. Mattingly just whacks it. 7-5. Yankees win at home. Rest of the scoreboard. Boston, Kansas City rained out. Sox manager John McNamara fired just before the game. Baltimore and Minnesota split a doubleheader. National League, Montreal beat Cincinnati. Houston over Philadelphia. New York and Atlanta tied up in the 10th. San Francisco trailing Pittsburgh. That's in the 9th. St. Louis loses 1-0 to San Diego. The Dodgers sweep the Cubs this afternoon 1-0, 6-3 in that game. Kirk Gibson picks up the second half right where he left off the first half. There goes home run number 16 on the year, and a little bit later, Gibby hit home run number 17. The Dodgers, just a complete turnaround from a year ago. They ride comfortably in first place in the Western Division. Boy, he has lit that team up. Today, the Lions open up the vault just a little bit. #1 draft pick, defensive back Benny Blades from Miami has agreed to a contract, a 3-year deal, $600,000 a year. Benny's happy. Benny ought to be happy, but he says don't expect him to turn this whole thing around.
Fans look at it and say, well, we're paying him, X amount of dollars to come in and help our team win. To me, it's up to the veterans to say, hey, these young guys, they're just getting here, they're just learning. It's their season, to develop themselves. So, hey, we got to take the initiative upon ourselves. If he's going to come in with a positive attitude and want to win, we're going to help him want to win real bad.
And he can help him. First round of the British Open was today. Seve Ballesteros has the lead. He had a round of 4 under par, 67. And I want to leave you with a story that ought to give you a good feeling. Magic Johnson was in town today. He was the headliner at a basketball camp at Detroit Country Day School. Well, John Gross interviewed Magic, who talked about a lot of things, among them how hard the playoffs were for him and his good close friend Isaiah.
This is the first go-around for Isaiah in the championship and losing. It makes it even tougher losing to me, with me being on the other side. we never wanted to play against each other. I mean, it's so hard. We always wanted to, but we didn't know it would be this difficult, a strain on both of us. You battling a guy that wants to win just as bad as you. You battling a guy that you love so much that you would kill or die for. You see what I'm saying? And now you're saying, man, I'm battling for the same thing I want. I want that trophy. I want that championship. And it's like, we're tugging at each other. And we hit each other, and we pushed each other, and we smacked each other, and we still hugged and kissed each other at the end. And that's what it's about.
It's mostly about a friendship that is a whole lot bigger than basketball.
But I'm going over there for dinner in a couple hours, and we're going to lay around like we always do, and I get to play with the new baby. And I'm excited about that because I haven't seen Joshua. And so Uncle Irv is in town. I got a boatload of presents, and I'm going to go have a good time with my second family.
That's tremendous. That's just tremendous. Tomorrow night, 11 o'clock, Magic talks about the Pistons of next year, and I think some of the things he says might surprise you. Those two are great.
They are great guys.
His magic doesn't end with the basketball court, does it?
They just, well, it's so much, yeah, it's so much bigger than that.
That's great, Steve.
And some of the stories we'll be following for you tomorrow. I'm over here. Thank you, Terry. Some of the stories we'll be following for you tomorrow. The Teamsters choose a new president. And tomorrow night at 11, Lee Iacocca talks about who will take over when he leaves Chrysler and if he has any career regrets. Bill?
Well, to wrap things up for you this evening, the traditional signs of summer abound on the roadside stands that pop up along country roads. Usually they sell very fresh, delicious fruits and vegetables, but in Ham Lake, Minnesota, there is a unique roadside stand. Elmer Poley sells violins. Unfortunately, they are not real hot sellers. Elmer spends his days watching the cars come and go, hoping that somebody will stop. Why violins? In his heyday, Elmer made those classical instruments himself, but he doesn't play, and he wants to find somebody who does, and he is determined to do just that. You see, Elmer doesn't plan on spending his entire summer just fiddling around.
The old fiddler.
Yeah, kind of a nice story there. Ted Koppel coming up next on Nightline. You have a pleasant, peaceful evening. Ted, we'll see you tomorrow at 5. Good night, everybody. Good night, Diana.
Good night. Good night, and thank you for looking in.
A Honda Accord DX hatchback. You could get it with front-wheel drive, power brakes, a handy rear hatch. Or for over $2,000 less, you could get this Dodge Shadow with those same standard features. And something else they don't even have. Our 770 protection plan. So you see, at your Dodge dealer, it's really simple. We make it affordable.
See Highland Dodge in Highland and Richmond Dodge in Richmond.
In America, I discover new and wonderful things every day. Look, now Ameco Ultimate has 93 octanes. That's a lot of octanes. Take the one-tank test and try them for yourself.
Just fill up with new 93-octane engine cleaning Ameco Ultimate. You'll feel our 93-octane acceleration and less engine knock and run on.